Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network. I'm your host, Nico, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to talking about some comics. Unfortunately, this is kind of on the tail end of the actual new release week. We had to record this one a little later in the week due to some scheduling issues. So we'll see what we can remember, guys. Let's see what we can remember what we read a week ago here. This is the real challenge. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because normally we have a good recollection. Well, at least I do. I don't know about Chris.
I don't know about me.
A good recollection of the books that we read week to week. This is our comic book review show here. And you can check us out weekly here on the Late Night Chat Network. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can check out our past episodes. This week, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of October 23rd, 2023. And as always, spoiler warning. If you're worried about us spoiling some of the details of the books, just be forewarned. We are going to show off some of the art, talk about what happened in some of these titles. So, so just be aware. And, you can always read your books, come back and check us out later. All right, Chris.
All right. Well, let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers. All right. Today, first up on the docket, big release here. We got Absolute Wonder Woman #1 from the team of Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman on art. Kelly Thompson's the writer. I got the Wes Craig variant here.
And that's why with the A cover.
And then the A cover underneath. All right. So this is the second of the three big Trinity releases from this new Absolute line of comics. We got Superman left to go. Batman came out a couple weeks ago. What'd you think of this, Chris?
I know a lot of hype around this comic. Everybody, I've been reading all the stuff what other people have been talking about. They're saying it's great. I thought it was okay. I don't really have anything that's, that pushed me to think this was like a great comic. Like, she has a new sort of history here. So, that's interesting to read. But I think I still got to get into this absolute world and, see how everything fits. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy for me. For Wonder Woman, now she's a witch here, carrying that giant sword. I guess it's just more an introduction to the new Wonder Woman. So I'll give it a go for a while, but this is definitely on the chopping block for me.
I totally disagree. I love this issue. I thought it was better than the Batman issue, if I'm so bold enough to say. But I will say it's not as good in the art department. I know we were worried about the art on this book. I do think the art actually works in the book. I think the art is fine, but I mean, this artist is no Nick Dragata.
Yeah.
But I think it worked well for this book. I think it looked good. I have no problem with this art, but it's still not one of my favorite artists or art styles. But we'll see how he does on this title. Like this, the last time I seen this artist, he was working with Scott Snyder. He's actually the one that did that Dungeon book that I had talked about here on the show. I guess earlier this year or late last year, whenever that book had come out, that I really quite enjoyed. To see this artist kind of doing a superhero title for the big two is definitely a change up, because that was like an IDW independent book by Scott Snyder that he did. That's like a horror kind of crime book. So I think that it looked good though. I didn't mind it. I did really like this issue. I mean, I gotta agree, I guess, if you're hearing it from other folks. Although I did mention this to a friend of mine that also had read this and has read Absolute Batman, and he totally disagreed. He said the same thing. He said he liked the Batman better. He thought this was just okay. I don't know. I kind of like the small twist that they kind of gave to her origin here. I really like the aspect of her growing up in hell. I think
there's some great pictures right there. The Wonder Woman baby. Come on.
Yeah. I like how that angel just came down and gave her over to this woman Cersei in hell, because it's punishment to the gods that he was going to take away the last Amazon. And then there was the whole thing about like she couldn't use the word Amazon. Like if she were to say it, like he banished the word Amazon from being said. I just really kind of like the whole heaven hell kind of aspect of this, and the fact that she grew up there. And yeah, she emerges in the future there as Wonder Woman with with the sword, riding like a skeletal kind of beast of some sort that she, I guess, fought or tamed in hell. I like that part about it. I actually think this is in line more with like the Wonder Woman that we've seen in the thing that you recently read, Chris, Wonder Woman Dead Earth. I think it's more in the line of that kind of Wonder Woman story that's being told here. I don't think it's, Wonder Woman Dead Earth is its own thing as well. But I mean, if I had to compare it to any other kind of Wonder Woman comic, I think it would be more in the vein of that kind of story that they're telling. Definitely a more badass kind of version of Wonder Woman. As far, it doesn't seem like this is the type of Wonder Woman that stands for, peace and love and all that other stuff, right? Like this is like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see that aspect of the character as the issues start going forward, because she is an Amazon and she is just kind of embracing the fact that she could possibly be the last Amazon, which is kind of like the Superman thing, honestly. So it's kind of interesting. I kind of liked seeing her grow up and the Cersei there, having to become a mother too, and to learn how to do that because she was kind of dropped into this bad situation for herself. So you disagree? You didn't like that aspect of it? I guess it sounds like you're shaking your head.
Yeah, whatever. Let's go. Let's get on with the story here and see what's happening. I didn't. Did she even fight anybody like other than those, whatever those demons from that floating city?
No, she's fighting some people there at the end of the comic, but I mean that's all we got for this issue. But they had to set up her origin. This is a brand new version of the character, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
got some moments of fighting at the end here, her fighting these big beasts, but I'm sure we'll see more moving forward. But they had a lot of ground to cover in this issue. I think as a setup for the origin of her, I think it worked very well. I actually think it worked better in some aspects than the Batman one, because I feel like the Batman one really didn't give you there was a lot of going on in the Batman issue, but when it all comes down to it, we really don't still know too much about that character, right? This, I felt like this gave you everything you need to know about this character in terms of her origin, and then we're gonna learn who she is moving forward, right? So I don't know. I like both issues so far, though, and I'm looking forward to the Superman one. But I think this was really well done. It definitely, let's say, it definitely stood out on a week where I thought there was some really good comics this week, but it definitely still was a standout. Now, maybe I'm just saying it because it's the week it came out on. We'll see as we go forward with the picks here of the week. But I thought it was a good addition to a good one to start with. Absolutely, I was the first thing I read this week. So,
yeah.
yeah. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75, begrudgingly.
I gave this a 4.25. I quite enjoyed it. Next up, we got Iron Man #1, which I also took a flyer on here. I read this. I figured you probably would be checking it out, so I
Yeah, I
checked
picked this
it.
one up.
Picked it up. What'd you think of
Yeah.
this?
Trash. Come on, like they're gonna give us the same story right away again. Like how many times can this guy lose his company? He just lost his company. You think he'd kind of put in some sort of safety mechanism so he can't lose his company so easily.
Hmm.
And right away, boom, bang, he's losing his company. And what now? He has the magic is affecting his suit. Nobody's figured this out in the millions of years he's been around there before. And I don't know. I didn't like this one at all either. This was brutal.
No, I agree with you on this one. I think this is basically this first issue. All it did was retread the plot lines of the last two runs that we really liked of Iron Man, like, which it really didn't offer you anything new. It just kind of like went over the fact of the things, the events that still happen, that just happened in the last run. And then they even went as far as mentioning some stuff that happened to him when he got addicted to the painkillers back in Christopher Cantwell's run, which I
Yeah.
thought were both two really good runs. But you need to kind of break free of those storylines now and actually establish a new status quo for the character in this. And yeah, it's really just kind of going back to the well with mentioning all these things. And yet all those same things seem to be happening to him again in this issue. And not only that, the only thing this sets up, which literally you get on the cover, you didn't need this whole issue, and then it ended on a page where it's like, I guess this Roxxon Stark War is on. I'm like, you already knew that going into this
Yeah.
issue that was going to be a thing. So, so I guess that's going to be, that's the problem with Iron Man, though. I feel like at this point, there's only like a handful of plots that people know that work in Iron Man. The fact that he's a businessman and, you know what I mean? And like superhero and like all this shit about armor and like the fact that whether or not he wants to be a weapons manufacturer and the fact that he goes broke
Yeah.
and then he goes rich again. And then
Like,
there's
how many times we stopped making weapons?
that stupid idea. He's like, we're going to basically become a sports book company. He's like,
Yeah,
people are going to bet on. Actually, it's kind of a fun idea, but at the same time, I'm just like, why? It's like,
yeah. It's like, we just built Sentinels, and now we're gonna become Leo Vegas.
yeah, like
We're gonna bet on Super Bowl and make a lot of money that way.
Like, I
Come
know
on.
the sports book stuff is really popular in the States. Like, I was just there and there's literally bars dedicated to like the fact that you can bet on sports books there and by all these different competing companies. So I know that's like a very thing of the moment, but the fact that Tony Stark is like, hey, let me tell you about parlays. I'm just like, what? I'm like, what? And he's meanwhile he's pitching this idea to the CEOs of his company, all which, mind you, are like criminals and have basically like outed him of his own company. Like, what's going on here? Then you got what's her name? Whose daughter is that?
Yeah, what was I
Justin
saying
Hammer.
about it? Oh,
Justin
Justin
Hammer's
Hamilton. Yeah,
daughter, yeah, Justine Hammer. She shows up at the end, basically with the mech that we just seen at the end of Duggan's run. He's like, oh, what, you think I've never faced a mech suit before? Yeah, it was bad. And I actually didn't even think the art was all too special either in this.
no.
Then you get
Yeah,
like,
what he lost like 100 pounds here. He's supposed to be the machinist there or something. Is that Christian Bale or is that Robert Downey Jr.? I don't know.
yeah, right. He kind of seems like he needs to eat a sandwich by the end of this. Yeah, it's terrible. The machinist, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I don't know what's going on here, man. But it was a bad start. I'm glad I didn't pick this up, and I won't be continuing with it. That's for sure. So if that's still on your pull list, you might want to try to.
Well, he's supposed to get the new suit next week, and he comes with a sword now too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. Well, that's kind of cool.
Everybody's got a sword.
That's still on your pull list. You may want to like drop it.
There's speculators out there. Watch out. Iron Man's getting a sword.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Everyone's getting a sword. You're getting a sword. You're getting a sword. Batman's got an axe.
Aquaman, you get a sword.
Wonder Woman's
Wonder Woman, you get a sword. Iron Man, you get a sword. Magic, keep your sword.
Honestly, all we need now is Spider-Man to get a sword, but it's going to be made out
Wow,
of like.
doesn't Miles have a sword?
Does he? I didn't
I
even know.
think so.
Oh, God.
You get a vibranium suit now and a sword and stingers.
Yeah, he's got the shock. I know he's got the electric shock thing now. Anyways, okay, what'd you give this?
3.25.
No, I gotta go 3 on this. I was honestly, after trashing it, I was like, do I give this 2.75? Listen, it's still
like it's an okay story, but we've heard it so many times already.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't care as much if there was some distance between literally the events of the stuff that he talked about in this issue have just been the last 2 runs, which I really enjoyed. But like this didn't offer any new angle other than the fact that there's going to be a war within the company and stuff like that.
Yeah, like isn't he supposed to be on the West Coast or something, starting the West Coast Avengers?
Well, Duggan's going to continue to write him, in that book, right? So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But if he has to play along with whatever's happening in this title, I don't know. I mean, unless Duggan's going to have some say-so when it comes to that, like, because I would not like, because it's going to be the same issues, like you just said. Like, he just got his company back from Fei Long, and now he's going to lose it to whatever, like this other corporate, like Roxxon Corporation. It seems, it's anyways, so 3. I'll give it a 3. I can't get it. I won't give it any lower, but it's not great. I'm not going to continue. Then next up, we got Babs number 3 from, I think this is Ahoy Comics that's publishing this. Yeah, by Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. Basically his Red Sonja, essentially, I would say. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, this is always a great read. It's just a fun, story there with wacky characters. This Babs character, she's fun to read. It's almost like a Conan character. She just kicks ass and takes names. And she's not, doesn't regret much of what she does. I think in this issue, what does she do there? I don't know. She's roaming the wastelands there, and that group of I don't know what you want to call outcasts or something. They're talking about all the information that they've been kind of just sneaking away, and they're trying to sell it to the jocks, and the jocks are going to pretend to be their friends to get all the information. I imagine they're going to turn on them, and Babs is probably going to have to save her. But it's a fun read. I think it's well written. The way they have their sort of old timey speak. It doesn't get old, and it's fun to read. That crazy sword she has that's always giving her grief. That's nothing wrong with that. It's a fun read. I enjoy reading this every time it comes out.
Yeah, it's a fun device, the sword, the talking sword, and I think it's well written. It's got some really fun dialogue, and it's got a couple of interesting kind of story plots happening right now within it. And yeah, all those goblin guys or whatever, those ones that are kind of like you said, selling it to the more cool guys. It seems like the knights and more well respected folks, and it's almost like he basically is cataloging all the stats, like it's like a D&D kind of character stat sheet or something like that.
Yeah,
It seems like he's like collecting all this information. And his one buddy's like, why are you sharing that information with them or whatever? And he's like, oh, don't you see? We share this information. These guys are going to help us out or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like you said, I don't think that's what's going to happen. And obviously they're like part of some group that are obviously, I think he's kind of commenting, I guess, how like there's a lot of women hater type people in society. I feel like today it's kind of a commentary on that. I feel like it's, is what he's saying about this other group. And they're kind of, obviously they don't like Babs. So that's going to probably come to a head, their storyline and her storyline. And, but at the end of this, she kind of runs into some elves and she's like, fuck elves, right? She's like all pissed off that she has to like get on this boat, this ship with elves. And, and of course, the elves, just like it's like a Lord of the Rings movie, they're more fancier, prettier looking people, right? So I'm sure she kind of like, these assholes, right? So like the way that she kind of left it at the end there, I'm sure they're gonna think that they're high and mighty and very special people, if I had to guess, because the elves in those movies are always like rich and like
yeah,
and
yeah. Like the high class.
high class, exactly. Yeah, so I feel like that's where they're going with that, and it's a funny book, and I've been enjoying it as well. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4. It's fun to read.
I'll go 3.75 on this one, but overall, I've really enjoyed this series. I think it's a 6-issue miniseries, so I think I'm going to pick up the trade when it comes out. It's been good. I've just been reading it digitally. Next up, we got Detective Comics 1090. I got this Dan Panosian cover here, and this is the first. That's the regular cover there. This is the first Tom Taylor written issue, and it's got Mikkel Janin on art, who's a really good artist. I think he just came off of the JSA book that was super delayed all the time with Jeff Johns. So nice to see him on this title. You read this, Chris, or you have a hard time
I'm
remembering?
pretty sure I did, but maybe just go through it there and.
Basically, this one's
Oh
kind of
yeah, yeah,
this kind of starting out a story that focuses on Bruce's father, and it turns out the big hook of the issue is through flashbacks. By the end of the issue, you find out that his father had a chance to let Joe Chill die after having come in and getting injured there, and he's on his table, and because he used to be a surgeon. And instead of letting him die on the table, even though people said how bad of a person this was, and his wife came in and she was all abused and beat up and everything like that, he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I made an oath to like help people. So he makes that decision as a surgeon, as a doctor. And it turns out at the end of the issue, you find out the guy that was on his table was Joe Chill, which is definitely a new angle on the whole
yeah,
Batman kind of mythos, but definitely in a way where they're not really touching any of the story itself that we already know to be the case. It just turns out there was this whole thing with his father. And and I feel like we haven't seen that many stories about his father and the fact that he was a surgeon. So like for me, I don't want to say this is completely new ground, but it's definitely not something I feel like we've seen a lot of. What do you think, Chris?
yeah. I like the whole idea. The gist of the issue is why Batman doesn't kill people and how the rest of their story is unwritten. You never know what they can become. So it kind of gives a good way to give that trope to Batman. But I've had enough of all these retcons or just trying to find all these wacky angles to explain things. But otherwise, I thought the art was great for this. I thought DC, with this new All In, they brought in some. I don't know if these are new artists, but they brought in some heavy duty talent. This is a good looking book, and there's some other books that came out this week that were pretty good looking too. And the story wasn't my favorite story, but I think I might have this on my pull list, or they kind of flashed it to me on the way out when I was leaving. I said, yeah, if nobody buys it, put it in my box. So yeah, I didn't mind this at all.
I know we were talking about the fact that there's so many Batman books out right now, and we kind of were like trying to like not, actively not trying to read as many. But the problem is they keep putting good creative teams on the Batman books, because I feel like DC knows the fact that their bread and butter is the fact that they have, like 50% of their titles are Batman related. And the fact of the matter is they continue to put good creative teams on it. Now, is this unique in the way that I felt like the Batman and Robin year one was last week? And with that being such a powerhouse team of Mark Waid and Chris Somney, and me feeling like it's a little bit different than everything else going on right now with the Batman books. No, I feel like this is more of maybe like what you would come to expect from Batman books. That being said, it is still pretty well done, and like Chris said, it does have a good artist on it. And it's not so much that they brought new people in, Chris. It's like I feel like they just shuffled the deck chairs around, because they've put in the really good artists, I think, that were on books like the JSA Jeff Johns book, where I feel like people weren't reading that as much. They moved that artist onto this title, which again, it's smart. You're going to put it on a Tom Taylor Batman written book. That's going to get more eyes on it. Right. So I think they've very smartly with this all in, just rearrange some of the creative teams. Like they have Dan Mora drawing the Superman book with Joshua Williamson now. So like, I think that's really smart of them to really kind of push their best, top tier talent forward here on some of these.
Yeah, for the top tier books. I hope Marvel is watching this and get an idea.
Yeah. So like, I wouldn't say this is very original, but and I knew Chris wasn't going to like, you were going to like it for the fact that they are playing with past kind of things that have already happened, but I think it's done in a good way. And I also think, Tom Taylor's written some good Batman stuff. So I'm actually still on board for this right now at the moment. I haven't seen too many things about his father. Like I get that's how obviously you're using that story to kind of show how he became the man he became and why he is the way he is.
But Wayne Industries isn't based on him being a doctor. That's for sure. I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all. No, I think it's more of a character type of like his
boardroom make that cash. Could have taken a taxi home. Nobody would have died.
What'd you give this?
I got a 3.75.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Yeah. Next up, Chris, you read Nightwing 119 this week. I don't have the art for it, unfortunately, but
unfortunately, that's too bad. This is another good looking book. I've hated on Nightwing. I was happy with this ended, but I guess my LCS kind of just kept on pulling, so I kept on buying. What are you gonna do? I had a decent cover. I think the team is Dan Waters, Dexter Soy. Would that be the artist, Dexter Soy?
Dexter Soy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so I guess this is just a lot of it's the Bloodhaven gang or underworld are trying to sort of split up the new territories now that I guess who's the Heartless or whoever's running the town before stopped or is finished. I guess what happened at the end of the Tom Taylor run, and they're splitting up. But just the art in this is great. So it kind of moves the story along. Nothing new or nothing fresh, but still a good story. Unfortunately, once again, I have to say I like this one, and it's kind of moving back in the direction where I enjoyed this book. Where Tom Taylor kind of moved away from. I just want to see what the big deal was at the end. I think there's some character kind of turns out to be maybe a backstabbing or two-faced character, but otherwise, good stuff all around. And begrudgingly, not because it's bad, I don't want to give it more, but I give it a 4 just because it's good and I don't want it to be still.
Wow. So you're gonna continue with it or what?
We'll see. I don't mind reading it online. If they keep on dropping heavy covers, like I don't think I have it on my pull list for the next while, but if it keeps on appearing in my box, I won't say no.
I mean, usually when somebody leaves a run that's pretty well acclaimed, like the Tom Taylor one was for me, I use it as an opportunity to jump off unless they've already lined up a next good creative team that I was
Yeah.
familiar with. Now, this one wasn't a creative team I was too hyped on. That being said, maybe I'll read it digitally now that you're saying it's good because I
Take a look at it. At least it's worth it for the art alone.
Okay, cool. Next up, we got Zatanna Bring Down the House #5, which is the last issue of this miniseries. Chris, I know you read every other issue. You said you didn't get to finish.
I missed it. When I started reading it, then I didn't get through.
Yeah, so that's so this is the last issue of the miniseries, and I gotta say, all in all, I really enjoyed this miniseries. You know, as I mentioned, I know, like Chris, I know you weren't as like you didn't love the art, I guess, as much as I did on this particular title, at least in moments of it. I'm a big fan of Javier Rodriguez, but I have heard similar feelings from other people about his style of art. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I feel like you know, if the art is good for you, I think that you'll like this title, this mini series, and I think it's worth checking out because I thought it was a good character study of Zatanna. I thought it was like a nice kind of retelling of like maybe her origins or her relationship as this character and to her father. I will say that it being a 5-issue miniseries, this is actually one of the rare cases where I think they could have used one more issue. They kind of wrapped up fairly quick in this issue because we've had a very slow lead up to this moment, I felt like. And then once it got to this issue and she went into this other world there to kind of confront her father, and now that we've learned that he's kind of the bad guy behind this and the reason why her powers were suppressed for as long as they were, and the fact that you find out in this one is because he was afraid of her power. Like he was afraid because she was actually more powerful than he was. And then she like confronts him, you know, for like, I don't know, a couple of pages in this once she finally gets to see him there. And she basically does some magic to him. And that's it. Like he's defeated. So like, I felt like it was a pretty slow buildup for what turned out to be a very quick resolution, unfortunately. And I think it could have used one more issue, honestly. That being said, I still think it stuck the landing. I thought it was a good mini series. I'll definitely be buying the hardcover of this when it comes out. I quite like this. I think there's not enough Zatanna comics out there. I know she shows up a lot in a bunch of things, but I love the character. And, you know, like I said, depending on whether or not the art is a deal breaker for you, I think this was a pretty decent miniseries, and I quite enjoyed it. Overall, I give this like a solid 4. I give this issue maybe a 3.75 for the finale. Overall, though, I still think it's a really great Zatanna miniseries. So yeah, definitely worth checking out if you have any interest in this character. Javier Rodriguez, I think they just announced that he's going to be the artist on another big title, which I'm blanking on right now. I forgot which book he's supposed to be drawing next, but I think they announced it and it's a pretty big deal. I can't recall right now, but anyways, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, this is just basically what happens at the end here. Oh yeah, and then of course the Justice League shows up, of course, at the end to recruit her. Next up, I got Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater #1. This is a wild book, man. This is a weird ass book. I didn't know what to expect from this. This is from Tom Scioli, who's like more of a indie cartoonist. He's done some weird things in the past. Again, some people like his art, some people hate it. He's got a very weird old throwbacky type of style. There's been many comics in the past where he's tried to emulate, it seems like, the way like Jack Kirby had drew, like he's almost like a Jack Kirby clone. And then as of recently, I think he's going less Kirby, more like, I don't know, even like where he gets some of his older influences, but definitely like older comic book artists. And so again, the art might be a deal breaker for some folks, but this is a crazy premise for a book. Basically, this is a Godzilla mini series. This is published by IDW, who does the Godzilla comics. But in this mini series, hence the Monsterpiece Theater, he's basically playing with other literary characters that existed all within the time frame of each other. And he basically uses them as characters that team up to take down Godzilla in this comic. So like the comic opens up and he's talking about the Great Gatsby. Like the guy's Great Gatsby is running, he has his big party going. And then all of a sudden the Godzilla basically breaks up the party. And then as it goes on. You're like introduced to all these like actual either real life historical figures or literary characters that maybe exist in the same kind of span of years. And they basically form a team essentially to take down Godzilla. I guess hence the monster piece instead of masterpiece theater kind of. It's a weird mashup of ideas and a comic, but I can't lie, I had quite a lot of bit of fun with this. It was so weird and different. I was like, wow, this is really great. The dialogue was really funny. Like, it's definitely embracing how wacky of an idea this is. And Godzilla is throughout the comic just basically attacking all these people. And yeah, there Thomas Edison shows up. And who else here? Yeah, and then they show him destroying the bridge here. And yeah, they're like making all these other references to things. And I'm just flipping through to see who else shows up here. Yeah, Jay Gatsby and the G-Force. And then like who else shows up here? There's all these kind of different. Sherlock Holmes shows up, right? So like, that he's on the case investigating Godzilla. So by the end of it, you have like a whole team. Yeah, Jules Verne. It's Jules Verne cyborg. So it's a cyborg version of Jules Verne. So like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Like it's such a weird idea for a book. But by the end of it, I was like, wow, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, Dracula is in it. I don't know, man. Anyways, if this sounds interesting to you, it's a really fun comic. I actually would give this a 4 out of 5. I think it's some wild, weird stuff. Great stuff. There you go, Chris.
Nice.
Then you got Creep Show Volume 3, number 2. This horror anthology, of course. And I forgot who did these. Oh yeah, I'm not as familiar with either of these teams in this one. I know John Ridley. I've heard of him as a writer here, and with an artist Eugenio Mira, and then Jorge Fornes. I'm familiar with him. He's worked with Tom King on some stuff, and then you got Stefano Raphael, who I'm not as familiar with, who wrote it. These two stories were just okay. There's usually at least one of the two stories in each issue that's really good. These were kind of both like just okay. This first one, some kids come over for like a sleepover there on Halloween or just to hang out with other kids in the neighborhood. And then it turns out that vampires had killed their family and then basically pretended that they were these kids, basically, so they could, because they found out these kids are supposed to be going over this person's house. So they basically sneak into this person's house and assume the identities of these children and then kill a bunch of them. That's the first story. So, whatever. The art was good. That was Jorge Fornes. That's the one he drew. It looked good. And then like the second story is even that one. This one is actually not even as good as the first one. This one's a little hard to explain. This one called Trigger Warning. This is basically, I feel like in the age of social media, somebody was trying to hype up the fact that some crazy stuff happened or went down in this house. And then it turns out it was all a lie. And I guess he was just doing it for like, views, for clicks and stuff like that. But then another friend turns out that they go there with this idea in mind or to prove the fact that this guy was lying, and they end up killing him instead so she can actually make this story a reality with him having shown up dead there, and basically for her to get popular off of this. So obviously it's like a commentary, I guess, on like, social media and stuff like that. It was okay. I just felt like, I don't know, for whatever reason, the way the story was told, I felt like I did a better job explaining it than the story did there. So there you go. That tells you everything you need to know. I gave this a 3.25 this issue. It was okay. Next up, we got Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames. Sorry, I just got a few that I've read here. Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames. This is continuing Jerry Duggan's Boston crime comic. What I didn't know about the first issue that I talked about of this newest miniseries of his Dead Eyes stuff is that these are actually based on actual crimes that happen in Boston, from what I think I've been told now. So that's kind of interesting. Anyways, yeah, it's somebody stole a bunch of art by cutting the art out of the frames, and this Dead Eyes guy is going to get back into the game for one big score type of story, and he's going to track down the people that stole the art, even though it wasn't him. And then, sell the art back and get a profit from it. So that's kind of the whole point of this story. And in this issue, you learn more about the people that actually stole it and, the fate that befell them as a result of having stolen that art from the mob, and a bunch of other people that took out all the people, all the links to to trace it back to the people that hired them to steal the art in the first place. So good crime story. Good, it's a Boston crime story. Again, John McCrae's art, not everyone's cup of tea. I don't mind him, but again, another artist. I feel like there's a few artists that I've talked about on this episode where I feel like not everyone loves these artists' art. There's a lot of people that aren't fans of some of the artists I feel like we've talked about here tonight, but it's an acquired taste, right? So I give this a 3.75 out of 5. I'm really enjoying this story so far. One of the guys accidentally gets killed in this end of this issue, and it looks like the Dead Eyes guys have to try to figure his way out of this one now. So I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. And then Universal Monsters Frankenstein #3. Got some more Halloween kind of comic readings here for you guys. Michael Walsh writing and drawing this series, still really good. I'm liking his kind of reimagining of this story, or again, kind of like tapping into some unexplored areas of it with characters that were probably more of side characters. Although I've never read the original Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, so maybe it's maybe these are all things that are more so in the story than the films. I've heard that the story itself is very different, so maybe I'm wrong in that aspect. But for me, it feels like it's a new territory that he's exploring in this miniseries, while kind of staying true to the original intent of the character Frankenstein itself. And, this misunderstood monster takes some more people out this issue, gets himself into some situations with some folks that are not so great, and they get taken out as a result in this one. So, yeah, good stuff. Great art. Fun story so far. I'd also give this a 3.75 out of 5. Really great miniseries, and probably my favorite of the Universal Monsters miniseries so far. All right, Chris. Next up, we got The Moon is Following Us #2, but I can kind of start us off on this one. I think you had read it this week too, you said?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
This is the Riley Rossmo DWJ miniseries, and in this issue, you get a lot of DWJ kind of drawing this one. They kind of were splitting, I guess, I think originally when this book was pitched, I feel like it was Daniel Warren Johnson that was going to be doing the writing, Riley Rossmo doing the art. I'm a fan of both of them as writers and artists, but it seems like so far the divide of art and writing is pretty equal in this series. So like majority of this issue, because it's in present day, we're getting all the present day flashback type stuff drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, is done by him. So of course, great art as much as and then you get Riley Rossmo later in the issue, just not as many pages in this one. And this was weird because I felt like the first issue, it kind of just you jumped right into the action of this other world that they're in inside their kid's head. And then with the second issue, they go back and try to explain how this all came to be, which I really know if I agree with the pacing of that. Like, why didn't they choose to do this with the first issue? I'm not sure. I kind of like when they just throw you sometimes into the story, and you're kind of trying to like pick up the pieces as you go. What do you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, now that you're talking about it, I think I remember what's happening. You have those two parents and the kids in a coma or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit of a wacky story, and it kind of, I jumped in on this just because, Daniel Warren Johnson, big fan of what he does. And, I think I just kind of need to read a bit more, maybe read the first issue just to kind of get up to speed and figure out what's going on there. They follow some kind of like some random guru shows up and says, "Hey, I can help you, talk to your kid or something." And then they're putting on these, I don't know, like these freaking Weapon X helmets, and then they're somehow transported into a dream world, I think. It's some interesting ideas, but it's a lot of new stuff for me. So I don't know if it's proper for me to comment, properly on this, because I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But
Well, like
I
I
think
said,
it was a decent read.
Well, like I said, I feel like the first issue, you will have even more questions. I feel like they explained more in this issue than they did in the first one, because in the first one, they basically just throw you into the middle of them in their kid's head in this fantastical world with this guy and a bunch of other creatures and stuff like that. And then by the end of it, you find out their kid's in a coma and they've come out of, like you said, they take the helmets off, and then they're in the room with their kid. Then with this issue, they're like, okay, now that you see where they're at the end of the first one, let's go back and now show you how they came to be in this situation. So if anything, I felt like this may have even been a better issue to read first. And now I feel like if you read the first issue, It
Yeah.
might be a better way of just, doing it for you in that sense as a result of the
This
way.
kid just falls asleep and never wakes up, right? There's no trauma
Yeah.
or anything that you know of yet.
No, it's just a very fantastical kind of ideas going on in this. And yeah, the kid basically just, even in this issue, they can't explain what happened. He just
Yeah.
goes into a coma like state. And then all of a sudden they have to go into his head, into his dreams, essentially. It kind of reminded me a lot of like Little Nemo and Slumberland, honestly, like, which I didn't get from the first issue. But if you're familiar with Little Nemo at all, it's kind of like that a little bit in a sense. Like it definitely is like any of those kind of like, or like Narnia, like any of those like type of fantasy children's
Yeah.
type of stories. It seems definitely like that, like Narnia or something like that. Because these parents, they're going to save their kid, but there's all these like really tense, dark moments with them as parents, where they think they're going to lose their kid, and they don't know what to do at the start of this, and they're going to see like sleep neurologists and stuff like that, or like the different like doctors that kind of diagnose this guy, and they can't figure it out, right? So it's kind of interesting even that aspect. Like, I'm not a parent, but I feel like as parents, the artists are trying to kind of put some of that into it as well too, right? So yeah, interesting stuff. And there's just really great artists drawing the book, so it's hard to have anything negative to say on that front. What'd you give this?
Let's give it a 3.75.
Same, yeah, 3.75 out of 5. I do feel like the first issue was still better in my opinion, but I'm really looking forward to see where the story goes. Next up, we got Gromit's number 5 this week. I think this is 5 of 7. 2 more issues to go with this. What'd you think of this, Chris?
That's another fun issue. Well, I don't know if I want to say a fun issue, but another slice of life. The kids are having a party there, and I think one kid is having a good time at the party, and the other kids are, I don't know, not having a great time, let's say, and they're sort of forced to leave the party, and well, I don't want to say hilarity ensues, but trouble ensues, let's say. And it just reminds you of being a teenager again, or not even, or maybe like a high schooler, grade 9 to 10 or something, and all the big kids are coming in, and you know these ones are a little extra crazy though,
Yeah.
and they go to town on one of his. Do they go to town on both of them? I know one kid gets the crap beaten out of him.
Well, the one tries to chicken out and get away, but at the end of it, it's like he kind of meets his fate too. Because when the issue ends, you see him starting to get beat up as well. So like both of
Yeah,
them get real bad because they catch him in the back of his van hiding. That one guy, he tried to get away, right? So yeah, no, like you said, it kind of does remind you of those being a teenager, and some of the conflicts that can arise as a result of that kind of thing. And yeah, I like this comic. There's not really any comics out there like this. And I like this slice of life stuff. I don't want all my comics to be like that, but I feel like given the
yeah, that's what it's made out to be. This, like, they're not selling this as a superhero comic where
no,
this kid's gonna get some powers to fight back. It's what it is, and they do a good job of doing what they do.
yeah, good stuff. I'm really enjoying this series. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give this a 4.
Same. Yep, 4 out of 5. Good stuff. Next up, we got Harley Quinn number 44. Check out this great cover by David Nakayama there.
Yeah, I went for a variant cover too. I think I picked up mine blind. It was like a trick or treat cover.
Oh, do you get the Chrissy
This is
Zulo
what I
kid one?
wanted.
Oh yeah, you got one of those too. Remember
Now
mine?
that I look at it, it reminds me of like that the one where the monsters lie or something.
Yeah.
It's not so bad. It wasn't what I expect. Like when I saw it, what the heck is this? Why did I pull this cover?
Well,
But I
remember
think I reminded
because it was the Halloween variant. That's
yeah,
why.
I think it was blind when it was put out.
Yeah.
Or when it was on the solicitation. Oh yeah, I'll take a flyer on it.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some. As for the Harley Quinn, I don't know. I did the first time I read through it. Well, when I read through it the first time, I wasn't too impressed, with the art or anything. But then as I was kind of looking through this to kind of refresh my memory, what happened in the story, it's not the worst art I've seen. I guess I don't know if that's a good or a backhanded compliment or not, but I think it looks better in the actual comic book than it did when I read it online. And the story here, I guess, Harley's going back to her old stomping grounds to find out that it's been, I guess the term is gentrified, or and now it's not the slums. It's been all sort of upclassed, and Of
Yeah.
course, the company that's doing it is the evil somehow. But well, I take it for what it is. It's an okay story. Yeah, I'm not sure if the villain is so bad or Harley's so good, but I
Yeah.
did read one comment that sort of stuck out to me, afterwards, where they have this Harley as like a Bugs Bunny type character. That really stuck out to me, and I'm not really a big fan of that. It reminds me of what they're trying to do with that the Harley Quinn cartoon, where it seems to work a lot more, where she's kind of wacky and chaotic, and but there's a lot more adult themes in that too that make that a lot more interesting.
Right.
Where here they seem to have their hands tied, they're trying to kind of make her all this chaotic stuff, but they can't really touch on any racy issues that might really make it funny.
Yeah. Apologies. Sorry about that. Yeah, the art's just okay. It's still really not doing it for me all too much. Like you mentioned, the plot of this current arc is kind of like a hipster type of story of some
Yeah,
sort of gentrification of the neighborhood. And I mean, it just does. I don't know. They keep trying to like do the approach. I feel like with Harley, where it is that kind of slice of life approach, but then they have a hard time balancing that with her as a character and the fact that she used to be a villain and now that she's like a slash villain slash hero type of person. And I honestly feel like they've introduced so many elements to this character since the boom of her popularity over the last, I don't know, like 10 years, that like it's hard to determine what to focus on now that makes the character interesting.
yeah.
Honestly, like I think we're at a point where they really just need to go back to the basics, wipe the slate clean, almost at the point where I feel like you can make her a villain again and just like drop this whole like this character that we know now as a result
They
of
need
everything.
an absolute character. They need an absolute Harley where she's not this zany character or whatever. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like there's so many other there like she's become a very malleable character where they've tried so many things with her where I now it's like anybody who I feel like writes the character, I don't know if they know what to do with them like with
Yeah,
her anymore. Like so I don't know. I don't know. I like again, we're getting just a new creative team again, and I just feel like we're off to the same kind of lousy
yeah,
start that we've had for the last two writers, where it's just like, okay, there's some aspects of an interesting story here. You got a very cartoony artist. Let's see where this goes, but I feel like it falls flat majority of the time,
yeah.
right? So I don't know. I'll hold out hope once again. Like I said, I have no choice to continue reading and or buying this comic because it's not necessarily for me all the time. So or else I would have dropped this long ago. But anyways, what'd you give this?
3.5.
Nah, I go like 3.25 on this one. Next up, you got Superman 19.
Superman 19. There we go. Yeah. Nice to see them putting some decent talent on their one of their flagship titles. Hint, hint, Spider-Man. But the story here, once again, like when Lois Lane gets powers here, I'm not sure how that happened in that absolute power event. But this is giving me shades of freaking Jackpot too, where Lois Lane all of a sudden, gets superpowers. I can understand, you want to help people, in the everyday sort of settings where she's like overpowered. But like Doomsday shows up, and then she's okay, let's go, Clark. And Clark is there, sorry, whatever, Superman, whatever you want to call him. He's like, Lois, get the heck out of here. This guy killed me last time. This ain't something for somebody to get, that just picked up some powers, to go toe to toe with. And however that works out, that's fine. And I guess there's a big twist at the end because I'm not familiar with this. What are they? The timekeeper or something?
Time Broker, I think. Time
Time
Broker.
broker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess there's a big swerve at the end of who this time broker character is. It sounds like it's been a hooded character for the longest time, so nobody's ever known who this time broker was. And
Oh,
then at
sorry,
the
Time
end,
Trapper. My apologies. Time
time
Trapper.
trapper.
Sorry.
Yeah, time trapper, and I know, a spoiler alert, it turns out to be Doomsday, after who knows how many incarnations of him or how many times he's been killed and come back. And he seems to be coming to Superman for help. So that's a bit of a swerve there. art with Dan Moore on Superman. You can't complain about that.
No.
Story is decent. I just didn't like that this Lois Lane as Supergirl or Superwoman, whatever.
I didn't actually relate it back to the jackpot thing as much because like her as Superwoman isn't a new thing. It has been a while. I feel like you've seen it in the pages of this book, obviously, but but I know I see what you're saying in that regard. Yeah, like you said, Dan Moore on the book looks great. I'm kind of interested to see. I don't know the Time Trapper really all too much either as a character. But the fact that they're coming at Doomsday in with a different approach than what you normally see, where he just shows up and beats the crap out of Superman, I think is interesting. He seems to be talking as this character at the end, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yep.
They definitely have got me interested. Also, Lex Luthor now is like, again, he lost all his memories, right? So like he's like,
Well, yeah, that was an interesting thing too. And then is it Lena or somebody showing him all
yeah,
the stuff that he's done? And
yeah,
you
yeah.
think he'd see that right away, and that would turn him, but he's almost looking at this stuff and goes, I don't even know if I want to be this person.
Yeah, he's like, to be honest, I'm quite embarrassed by this. I don't remember any of this. He's like, what's going on here? It's
Yeah,
kind of funny to see him react in that way because he's like, who is this guy? Right? Like,
yeah.
so that is interesting. I feel like I don't know. There's always some like stupid like thing that they do with Lex Luthor, but like, I guess we'll see where this goes. Like, this is one of those things where now they've made him a good guy for so long. It's kind of like what they did with, speaking of Spider-Man with Norman Osborn more
Yeah.
recently, right? It's kind of going that route
Yeah,
where
where you almost accept him. Okay, he's going to be a good guy, and then they just freaking pull the rug out from under you again.
we just know there's a storyline down the road where he's going to hit his head and be like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
Lex Luthor again. You know what I mean? So, it's comics. So I'm going to go with it for now. It's kind of fun to see him react to himself in that way. So yeah, not bad. What'd you give this?
I'm 3.75.
I was going to go with 3.5, but I do quite like the Luthor thing and Mora's on art. So I'll give it a
Yeah.
3.75 as well. Yeah. So that is kind of fun. So good stuff. Next up, we got Avengers 19, Chris.
Yeah, I just read this one online, and Avengers have been up on the list. I think I'm going to start pulling it pretty soon. I think with there's some Avengers versus X-Men, but I wish I started grabbing it sooner. I didn't mind the story here with Doctor Doom. He really gives the Avengers the verbal business here.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff he said sort of rang true, but then of course the Avengers do have an appropriate answer for this too. So
Yeah.
it was a good call. I like the story, everything there. Trying to find the words of how to explain it, but it was a good, I guess, character study of both teams and why they do what they do, and why Doom is Doom and why the Avengers are Avengers.
Yeah, I've been liking the Avengers a lot more lately as well, and yeah, seeing Doom up in the mix here, it's continued to be fun, and there was a lot of like splash page posing going on in this issue, which I feel like
Yeah.
has been an ongoing theme in McKay's run, which I don't really enjoy all too much. Like, how many times do we need to see the team reforming together?
Well, I think this was a bit of light on story. So, as Doom was explaining how the Avengers should be, like, what do they have Mullen? Like, yeah, there it is, the green costumes, where,
yeah,
they're almost sort of Doom like acolytes there.
right.
That's fun to see. I don't mind seeing that.
I like the Doom stuff, but that stuff not so much. Like, and then of course they got all eat pizza together at the end and reminisce about what happened.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if the art choices they've made in this in this series I haven't loved as much, and I feel like the series has only really found its legs the last like few issues, but I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
it's definitely like you said, adding it to your pull list I can understand at this point. It's gotten good now. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75.
I'll go 3.5 on this one, but I still enjoyed it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #3 this week. Now this week we got the Leonardo issue, and this one's drawn by Cliff Chang because it's been a different artist each issue so far. What'd you think of this, Chris?
I thought it was okay. I like the story of Leonardo there. I guess he's gone back to, I don't want to say the swamp or wherever he is there, and he's trying to to I don't know, merge or meld with the turtles or join the actual turtles.
He goes back to the Ganges River. He goes back to
Oh
here.
yeah, in the Ganges River somewhere.
Yeah,
Some turtle
in,
sanctuaries.
in India. Yeah, that's where he goes. Yeah, yeah,
And those, and at least these turtles are just acting like turtles in the beginning. They don't care who he is. And then he's all
he gets
upset about
bit.
that.
He gets bit by one of them. Like, hey,
Yeah.
turtle like comes up and like chops his finger. He's trying to
Yeah.
like,
Oh, this must be a lesson. You think it's all kind of wacky. And then, he's just, I guess, meditating. And it looks like he's meditating for months or like he's
yeah,
going through all the seasons, or maybe it's just a bad day. And then, I guess, shit hits the fan when the hand tries to find him or something. And only one thing I like when there's everybody around him there, you see him kind of just, I don't know, pull out his weapons. And then the next screen, they're all just lying on the ground dead.
yeah,
Thought that was good stuff. And I don't know about this story about the turtles that go eat all the dead people and all that sort of stuff. That was a little bit heavy
yeah,
handed. But
yeah.
either way, it brings him back to his brothers, and his brothers are fighting. He has to put a stop to them. And of course, it leads to them looking for their last brother, and it's just fun with the dynamic between all of them, and they all hate each other now. So it's fun to read.
Yeah, I think this was like honestly the perfect kind of story I think for Leonardo. I think Jason Aaron has taken interesting approaches to telling these singular stories of all the characters that kind of I think shows off some of the aspects of why these characters are like why they are the way they are each one, and like and a story more related to their personality, I found. So like this one definitely, like, Leonardo, who's, supposed to be the leader of the group, who this is your classic like ninja who can't find peace, and he tries to go find peace, like his inner self type of shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, and of course all these ninjas track him down and he has to kill them all. And yeah, as much as it is heavy handed, I agree with you in that sense that, they were trying to show you, like, obviously, like, even here, when he tries to go back amongst his own kind, he can't find,
Yeah,
he couldn't find the,
can't
the
escape the
peace.
game.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like death and destruction just follows him in his wake. Like, so the fact that he just kills all of these ninja on the hand here, I thought was awesome, single handedly. Like, he doesn't even need his brothers there with him to help him out.
Yeah,
It's a great scene. That scene, I agree with you. Like, that was my favorite scene of this issue. I was like, that's great stuff. I was, and then like you said, he goes back and it kind of furthers the story of them all finally getting together and meeting up. And we have one more person to go, of course, with the next issue, and that's Donatello, which is the only character who we haven't kind of touched on as of yet. So Leonardo is kind of joined back with Michelangelo and Raphael, and who's escaped from prison. Michelangelo, of course, is a movie star of some sort now, or TV star in Japan. So yeah, interesting stuff so far. I'm really enjoying the direction that it's going, and
yeah,
I can't wait to see them all together finally at the end of this arc. What'd you give this?
yeah. It's 4.
4 out of 5. Yeah. And the Cliff Chang art looked really great too. It was nice to see him on this book. Jason Aaron, I saw him make a post where he says, I've been trying to work with this artist for like 20 years or something like that. So he's like, this is a treat for me. He says that the fact that he got him. And I think they announced at New York Comic Con, the ongoing artist that's going to be taking over after the first arc of all the different artists that he has of their singular issues. And I forgot who it is, but it's a really good artist. Like so I'm really looking forward to what happens when they come on the regular title. So next up, we got Void Rivals number 13, Chris.
Yeah, this, I can give you the vibes I felt from this book. I thought it was a good story here. But as there's everything that's happening in this story here. It's a lot, I think, and I'm just kind of getting lost in the lore, let's say.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I mean,
it's still good. It's interesting to read. I'm trying to follow along. But with this, this is sort of the lost piece of this Energon, or the new piece of this Energon universe. Where the GI Joe and Transformers are sort of more known quantities, and this is something new here. This new world that they're fighting on, and the two characters. I've been reading this for a while, and I still can't get a beat on who's who in there. I like that hand droid. That's about it.
who's now on the woman. See,
Yeah, it's on the other character. Yeah, it wasn't she like digging or she's climbing somewhere and
I don't even remember all their names. So,
yeah,
Kirkman's juggling a lot in this book. I agree with you. I think he's actually doing a pretty good job of it, but he has like 5 storylines that are going in different directions right now with different characters. And not only that, he has the story about these 2 races going on, or alien species going on in this story, and how they're somehow connected. But while he's telling that story, he's also weaving in this stuff that's happening in G.I. Joe and Transformers slowly too. Like this issue
yeah,
opens up with the Cobra Law stuff, which the last time we saw that was touched on in the Cobra Commander miniseries, right? So like
yeah.
he's weaving that stuff in, and this is just coming off of a bunch of issues with the Transformer. Actually, he's still flying around in the Transformer in this issue. The one guy, the
I
main
think
dude.
so, yeah.
Yeah, he is. So like that's what I mean. So like he's really trying to like play the long game in terms of connecting all the dots in this
Yeah.
story. So I
Well,
don't.
and one of the big themes of this Void Rivals has been that these two worlds have been kind of separated on purpose,
Yes.
and you think it's for nefarious means. And I think at the end of this one, was the father explaining to the son is that if these two if these two worlds ever come together, then
Yes.
something cataclysmic would happen, and that's the reason they're keeping everybody apart.
So
So I
then,
thought that was an interesting sort of twist to what's
yeah.
going on in this world.
Yeah, and then the one woman who were like they're his they because both warring factions show up to one another at the end there and to talk out what's going on. And the one woman basically tells the other guy, he's like, yeah, we need that to happen in order to make way for the new kind of like for us to move on to the next kind of stage of
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like of what we have planned or whatever. So yeah, I don't know what this all means and what it's going to mean for the other books, let's say within the Energon universe. But somewhere down the road, the way he's kind of mapping this all out, I could see there being a crossover event between all of the Energon titles, and which actually is going to be pretty exciting. I feel like if
well, I
you,
just hope they cross over it like in their own title. Like, there doesn't have to be a new event. You know what I
I think
mean? Like,
I think he's going to do an event. Personally, I feel it's
like
going to be.
not at like an event between all the books. I understand that, but not like Energon World or something. Like a big game or something like that.
No, I meant like a crossover between the titles. Yeah,
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 for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely something like that's coming.
yeah. So, anyways, what would you give this?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4, even though it's sort of wacky and hard to explain, but
No,
some big things.
I agree. I mean, he's doing a lot in this book, but it's all pretty good stuff. I think Kirkman's doing a great job in this title. Next up, we got X Factor number 3.
It's another book that's growing on me.
Good. Good. Thank you, Chris. Finally. Can I power dog while you talk about the book, Chris?
Right? At least they put that line early. That line just sold me the book while he's taking it away. Do you mind if I power dog?
I'm just gonna power dog while you talk about the title.
The only thing I wish the thing is, I'm looking at the panels as they're talking, is that he never ate the power dog. And it should have been, by the end of the conversation, that power dog should have been just a stick. But
I agree.
otherwise, and then this, this new character with this Granny Smith, or what is her name Granny Smith?
Yeah.
Like they try and give her the worst origin ever, and she turns out to be like almost the coolest character,
Oh
that
man.
a new character that that I unexpectedly seem to enjoy, and the way they worked her into the story, I thought was just great. This stuff, and I've been pining for Polaris the whole time. That's not working, and I don't know who who the boss that's leading their missions. I know they're trying to make him as a kind of a snaky kind of guy, but they're laying that one on a bit thick. But otherwise, this was a surprise for me, and I can't believe I'm enjoying this one compared to the way it started out.
No, man, it's like you said, like the jokes are like the callback jokes are working. Just the moments of like again, you just gotta accept that this is the type of book it is, and I feel like once you can accept that, you could kind of lean into more of like the absurdist type of jokes and like references and stuff that they're making. Because in this one, like it's like, yeah, like it's like this guy who's like a tech billionaire dude, that they go and basically this satellite that he has set up on this moon or whatever, or Mars or whatever, he's lost control of it due to AI or whatever, right? So they have to go and like destroy it, so then like this companies that he works with, secrets don't get leaked or something like that. I forgot. Like he's basically
Yeah.
trying to like make it so like he doesn't get in trouble because he's up to no good with whatever the situation is.
Yeah, there's some AI running in there that's end up killing all the scientists on the moon.
Right. So like, but then by the end of like the last couple of issues, you can tell that like, what's his name? Havoc, like, not, is it Havoc? Who the hell's
Yeah.
the, yeah, Havoc. Like he can just tell he's being used as a patsy. Like he's just so upset with like his current like situation as part of this team because he keeps doing these things. They keep putting him on these bullshit missions, and it seems like the last couple of issues, it's really starting to weigh on him. Like with that whole Polaris situation, and then like
Yeah.
this, he's just like he could tell like I'm basically working for the enemy at this point. Like with this whole situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Granny Smith stuff, like the best is at the con where she's like, I welcome death, and she signs it on someone's picture. And then she's just like, well, you need me to jump in this nuclear reactor? Sure, let's do
Yeah, no
this.
problem. I can't die. Like, where's your spacesuit? Well, I can't die. I figured I didn't need it.
So like it's just so absurd. It's really great stuff that like, and obviously there's some social commentary stuff on that, and on in the series too, obviously about big businesses and tech and stuff like that, and maybe the evils of that kind of stuff as some people see it, right? But it's really interesting and a lot of fun and really funny. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it as well. I'm glad you're coming around slowly. And the fact that every issue he's had a power dog joke in, I'm just like every time now, I'm just like I'm expecting this callback.
It's so ridiculous. It's funny now.
What'd you give this?
4. I want to give him more, but I can't.
4.25 for me. Good stuff.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Next up, or I guess last book here, X-Men number 6, Chris.
Yeah, I think I somehow ended up with this Doom variant
Nice
cover.
Nice cover.
Not a bad cover. I didn't mind, when he brought it out. I was gonna say, hey, did I get the regular cover? But when it's something like that, I don't mind.
Yeah.
And this is a book I want to like, but freaking come on, it's just not coming along for me.
Yeah. Yep.
It's got good
Yep.
characters. The Stegman art, it's still not working for me here.
This isn't him on this one. This isn't him.
Oh no, okay, whoever this artist was, then good.
Yeah.
I thought it was him. I go, come on, buddy.
This
But
is
even here, like, who?
Paco Diaz on this one.
It's
Neto Diaz. Sorry, I've never heard of this guy before. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, it's okay, but I don't know. I think this person has just too many people to draw or something. But and as for the story, what's this, like freaking the Hunger Games, and they're protesting outside. First of all, where are these protesters coming from out in the middle of Alaska? Like, I understand there's only 3 of them, and one of them is a little kid. And what they flash this anti-mutant, or the mutant sign, and when Magic sees it, even though that you can't go into a freaking family's house and steal the kid from them, even if they're brutal. I imagine there's other ways to do this, but yeah, I'm hoping that once they do this raid on Grey Malkin and the X-Men versus Avengers, this story picks up. I'm not digging the characters here. I'm not even digging this team, really.
No, I thought I would really like this team, but I don't. Yeah, the big reveal is that the girl that they find that has mutant powers is who the Sentinel was after. That's frozen now. It's above their station there. I agree with you, man. I'm finding this frustrating. I'm really not liking the flagship X-Men book. I know last week, or I think it came out last week, we were talking about how the Uncanny X-Men has grown on us. This is the opposite. This has actually been getting worse as it's gone on. And I actually feel like this is probably, out of all the X-Men books I'm reading, maybe other than Wolverine, which I feel like I'm dropping now after the last issue, this is probably like my least favorite book that's been coming out that we've been reading. Like, we just talked about X Factor. I think that's great, and it's only had 3 issues. This has had 6 issues, and it's having a hard time finding its legs. Maybe Jed McKay is going to pull an Avengers, and this isn't going to get good till later on in the run. I don't know if he's really good at team books, to be honest with you. Like, I'm starting to feel that way. Like, the Avengers is kind of when it's been turning around now, but it took 12 issues for that to happen. This is like, there's too many X titles for me to hold out hope on this one, but like I really want to like this book. It's not clicking for me either.
Yeah.
It's not very interesting. I don't like the stories they're telling. I do like the team. I don't even mind the Stegman art. I know some people are divided on that too. I know you're not. You're like, it's okay. You don't love it either. Other people I've talked to have said the same thing. They don't really like they like you said. They don't think he's the right artist for this title. So I don't know, man. Like it's really just not working. I really wanted to, but it's not. I'm giving it a lot of rope because I like Jed McKay. I want to read the flagship X-Men book, but I think Uncanny might be the one I stick with, honestly. Like
that's the way it's looking for me too.
yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, it is what it is though, I guess. I don't know. I'll give it a couple more. I think I'm gonna give it a couple more issues and then we'll see. But I don't know. Because I think I already have it pre-ordered up to like 9.
Well, yeah, I think they got some crossover event between X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and Avengers coming up, but
right.
that was well, if this event sucks, then it's lights out.
Yeah. What'd you give this?
3.25.
Yeah. 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 All right. Well, that's going to do it for the books we want to talk about this week, guys. We do have some solicits to look at before we close out the show, though. Last week we did December, which we just celebrated our 150th episode last week. That was a lot of fun. Me and Chris got together in person. Yeah. And make sure to continue watching as we go to the end of the year. We're actually going to be doing once again our year-end basically award show that we do, our Comic Shop Talk Awards. In between Christmas and New Year's, we take a week off from doing the regularly scheduled like weekly reviews. And then those comics kind of carry on to the next week. And we do like a bigger week as the new year starts. But yeah, that'll be basically where we highlight a lot of our favorite and not so favorite things we've read throughout the year. We got a bunch of categories. So those are always a lot of fun. So make sure to tune in for that one. Just kind of wanted to throw that out there. And yeah, new comic solicitations. Let's take a look at Marvel's January solicitations here. We're going to use comicreleases.com to take a look at that. And no affiliation with them. We just think it's a good site to use. Not a lot of ads and bullshit like some of the other ones. So, all right.
No, I think Marvel's bringing the covers this beginning of the new year.
Are they? Okay, good. I think I looked over this already, but I don't remember much about the covers and all that. So let's see. Okay. See what we got here. First up, we got Deadpool Wolverine #1 by Benjamin Percy, Joshua Cassera. That's actually a really good. Well, I mean, Benjamin Percy, so, but Joshua Cassera, he's the artist. I think he did like a lot of X-Force and stuff with him. He's a good artist. I don't know about this one though.
Yeah, I'm out. Well, yeah. No, Benjamin Percy's going to do when it's an actual movie that that he's doing there. What kind of storyline is he going to do? He's going to have to pull a storyline from the comics for a movie comic.
There's some really good covers here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm out, but yeah, I think I'm out. But it looks good. And I'm sure it will look good if that's the team. Joshua Cassera drawing it. Ultimate Wolverine #1. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I do like this one. That's a Steve Scroce one. I like that one, but I'm probably just
getting cover. You want the A cover. That's a good cover too.
I know. I'm getting this one, but I'm just saying I like that Steve Scroce.
You buy two. I'd say get that in that middle one.
Yeah. New Champions #1. No. New Champions team. A lot of the younger superheroes. Sam Wilson, Captain America. No. Looks like it's going to be more in line with what's happening with the movie, though, with the Red Hulk on there. So that's cool. Magic #1. Yes. So, yeah. So this one kind of killed me, Chris. This is probably because Magic's one of my favorite X-Men characters. I think I've ordered. This is big for me because I don't normally do this, everyone. I think I've ordered 3 covers for this book. So I've ordered this one, the J. Scott Campbell. I've ordered this one, the David Nakayama one. I've ordered. Is this which one is this? Dyke Ruan? No, I don't think I ordered that one. That's a cool one too, though. Man, see, I didn't even see any of these when the solicits came out, so I just ordered a lot of these blind based on the names. That's a pretty sick one too. I didn't order that. That one looks nice though. I ordered this one. Yes.
Yeah. That's a nice one too.
Yeah, which is one of my new favorite artists, Ji Young Lee. Love this artist. Love this cover artist. This is like the one I'm going to start trying to collect her covers. I really like her stuff, that's Ji Young Lee. Yeah, so those are the 4. I ordered 4 covers. Jeez. No,
You get all those covers. They're all great.
I ordered 3 covers. Sorry. Yeah, so I don't know how this book's gonna be, but I ordered 3 covers. Those are all covers. I really enjoy. So yeah, this one, and this one. What'd you get, Chris?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided. This might be a time where I don't get the Scott Campbell cover unless I'm buying multiples.
You know what? If I had seen the other ones, because when my solicit came out, because mine came up early on my app for whatever reason, so I didn't see any of them. I might have actually traded up and got this one. Sorry, this one instead of the J. Scott Campbell one, because that's a pretty nice one too.
Yeah.
I don't know that you like you said earlier with the X-Men ones. He's been phoning some of these in lately. That's not bad, but like these other ones are nicer for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, now, so yeah, we've ordered it, obviously, guys. We're getting that one. This is also one that I've ordered a lot of covers. Okay? Again, I like Rogue Savage Land Rogue. Okay, like these are the cheesecakey characters I like, the X-Men ones. So here we go. Okay, I've ordered this one. This is the
for sure. That's why I'm getting Carrie Andrews.
Yeah. Okay, I've ordered this one because I like this one quite a bit. This is what's his name? Russell Dodderman. I normally don't get these like design ones where they show like the different but I like Russell Dodderman a lot, so I got this one. He used to be the Thor artist when Jason Aaron was the writer, and he doesn't do a lot of interiors these days, so I got that. I didn't order this one. This one also is kind of cool, but I didn't order that one. I did order the Nick Bradshaw one. This one's sick. I love this one. Yeah, look, he's got that Art Adams style. I really love Nick Bradshaw. I definitely got that one, and I didn't order these other ones. So I ordered 3 of these ones. So I ordered the Carrie Andrews #1 for sure. Then I would probably go with the Nick Bradshaw one, and this Dodderman's probably last. But there's also a foil Adam Hughes one, it says here. I don't know what that's all about.
Oof.
Yeah, and there's a J. Scott Campbell for this too, but I haven't seen that. It's a Virgin variant though, so yeah, they're not even all showing here, guys. But anyways, so yeah, Chris, you're going to Carrie Andrews.
Yeah, if there's that Adam Hughes foil that's open, maybe I'd buy that blind. I'd buy his cover blind.
That's fair. I just don't like the foil stuff all that much. I don't know. Cable Love and Chrome #1. No. So here's hoping these miniseries are also good, guys. But if not, we got a bunch of nice covers to at least show for it. That's big for me. I don't normally go all in like on the covers like that. Fantastic 428. I'll definitely read it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying this. I think it's the prelude to all the Doom stuff.
Oh, Phil Noto. There's your boy, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the prelude to Doom stuff? Yeah, that's probably be good stuff then. I'm out on this. What if Mickey and friends became the Fantastic Four? No more of that. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #2? No. Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon #1?
Maybe.
So this sounds like a fun idea for a comic. So basically, J. Michael Straczynski is going to be doing all these one-shots that unite unlikely duos from all across the Marvel universe. So, this might be fun. I don't know. I guess that's the idea of he's going to be doing a bunch of one-shot issues like that.
Yeah, half the issue is going to be when Raccoon and Doom were kids and they were friends somehow.
Is that what it says?
No, but that's what he does in all his comics lately.
Oh, is that right? Oh, because that was the Captain America one, right?
Captain America, wasn't that Punisher?
That was Jason Aaron who wrote that.
Jason Aaron. Oh, sorry.
Michael Straczynski. Yeah. Come on, Chris. Amazing Spider-Man 65 Deaths, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good cover.
Yeah. And then there's 65. I guess that was just like a tie-in issue, that Deaths one. I don't know. But yes, I'm getting these. Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool too. The Fantastic Four one. That's pretty nice. Then you got 66 here. Yeah, definitely. Some Bagley.
Yep. Can't go wrong with that cover.
Daredevil Unleash Hell, Red Band #1. They're doing a Red Band Daredevil now. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might read it digitally. We'll see. That's a cool cover. Ultimate Black Panther 12. No. I fell off of reading this, but I've been hearing really good things about this book as well. These Ultimate.
I think there's Strange involved there now.
Yeah. There's like the Moon Knight bad guys, which they established in the first issue. Yeah. Which is still supposed to be a big plot of this story. Yeah, my friend's reading it. He's really I think like all these Ultimate books have been pretty good then, if that's the case, honestly. Ultimate Spider-Man 13. Yes.
Mhm.
Got to go with this cover though, right here. That's a pretty sick
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Ultimate X-Men 11. No. Ultimates 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been loving this book too. Oh, looks like Captain Marvel. Is that what that is? Ultimate
I think the
Guardians of the
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy show up or something
Oh yeah,
somehow.
America Chavez is in this. Okay. Very cool. Okay. Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk. No. Laura Kinney Wolverine. Are you in on this?
I don't know.
I'm not, but I'm kind of regretting possibly not picking this
I think
up.
I got the first issue. I'm still thinking about it. Maybe I got to read that solicitation again, see what's going on in the story.
Yeah. Spider-Man Homegrown Heroes 3. No.
No,
All New Venom. You in on All New Venom?
I want to be. It's not Carlos Gomez. I like to support him, but
True.
I don't know. No.
TVA. No. Infinity Watch number 2. No. Hell Hunters. I'm definitely reading this. I don't think I'm picking this up, but I'm
I
definitely
think
gonna be.
I am picking this up.
It sounds like a really fun idea. I hope it's
Gotta get
good.
this cover here though too. The
This
second cover.
cover's sick. Yeah, that's a sick cover. I really like that one. I'm definitely gonna be reading this if I didn't pick up the issue because it sounds really fun. Like I want to I want that book to be really good. Halverine number 2. No. Then you got West Coast Avengers. Yes.
I might be following this still.
Yeah, I'll be picking this up. Probably this cover here. What if Galactus transformed the Hulk?
I might be reading these ones. I don't think I'll be buying them though.
Same. Yeah. Nice covers though. What if Galactus transformed Rogue? All right. Gambit. Okay, so he makes them all his herald then, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen. That's a new one. And Moon Knight. So there you go. Storm Life Dream number 1. No. Why is this? Why are they doing a one shot? Does she have her ongoing series here?
Yeah.
That's no okay. Storm number 4. I think I might continue reading this online. I liked that first issue that no, you read it, and I looked at the art, and I really liked the art on it. So
Yeah.
I might check it out. I don't know. There's Doom now, so that's kind of interesting. Uncanny X-Men number 8. Yes. That's a cool cover. Is that Nick Bradshaw? Yeah. Yep. Definitely getting that. Nice. I love his art. X-Men 10. Yes, I'm getting the Magic cover here.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know.
I have a lot of Magic covers that week.
I know, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to drop it by this point. That's number 10 already. I don't know. Yes, Uncanny X-Men 9 and 10, yeah. Wolverine 5. No, I'm dropping this.
I don't know. Maybe I'll stick it out.
Mystique, yes. I've been liking that first issue. Sentinels, I didn't read this. Do you end up reading this or no?
I read some of it. It's okay.
Psylocke. I think so.
I think I got a first couple issues.
Oh, that's a nice cover.
Yeah.
I got the first. I think that
I don't
one.
have high hopes for this miniseries. I'll just say that.
No. Alyssa Wong's not a bad writer, though. I don't know. This is one of those ones where I think the first issue is coming out like in a week or two. So I need to read the first one before I commit to this one. But I think I've ordered like 2 covers for the first one, too. NYX number 7. No. Phoenix number 7. No. Exceptional X-Men number 5. Maybe I'll read it digitally.
Yeah.
X Factor 6. Yes. X-Force 7. No. You still reading this?
I might read it if it's a slow week when it comes out.
Oh, watch out. X-Men Xavier Secret number 1. Whatever
Yeah.
that is.
I think those are some of the unlimited titles that were online only.
Oh, yeah, you're right. From the Ashes, Infinity Comics 1 to 6. Okay. Yeah.
I'm out though. That story's over.
Yeah. Facsimiles, Iron Man 4, which we talked about at the start of the show. No. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu 4. No. Werewolf by Night, Red Band 6. No. Blade, Red Band 4. No. Hope these red bands have been popular for them. Deadpool 10. No. Miles Morales, Spider-Man 28. No. And 29. No. Spider-Boy 15. What's going on here? Bullseye's in this now. Daredevil. What's
I know
happening
there's
here?
some Hulkette that's coming out this week, or
What the hell? Spider Gwen, the Ghost Spider #9. No. Spectacular Spider-Man 11. No. Kid Venom 4. No. Scarlet Witch 8. No. Reading this in trade still, though. There's been some nice covers for this. Avengers Assemble 5. You still reading this?
probably reading it, but
Yeah. It's the last issue of that. 5 of 5. Namor 6 of 8. Yes, I'm reading that. Avengers 22. You're picking this up now. You got Black Cat on the cover of that for this one.
oh yeah, I guess she's joining the Avengers or something.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, because it's Jed McKay. Ah, that dog. He found a way to continue writing Black Cat. That Jed McKay. Good job, man. Daredevil 17. No. Immortal Thor 19. No. Man, Marvel needs to step it up. I mean, the fact that we're not reading some of these titles and
I
there's
know,
a bunch of this other crap we don't care about. Like, I honestly feel like DC is doing a better job right now at their
for
titles.
sure.
Incredible Hulk 21. No.
Again, he's still with that crazy, like in the
Yeah.
swamp land. They're fighting these elder gods.
Yeah. Spirits of Vengeance #5. No. Alien Paradiso #2. Oh yeah, Star Wars. No, we don't read these ones. Okay, well, that's it for Marvel. And yeah, there we go. I don't know if there's any like Dark Horse Image stuff to highlight really that I looked to give it a look over, but if there's anything, well, we can mention it next week if there's anything we feel like you shouldn't miss out on. But I think it's a lot of more continuing titles from previous lists. I was looking at least at the stuff I was interested in here, and there's nothing really new to speak of that I saw. So yeah, that's. Oh, sorry. Okay, there's one book I want to mention. There's a new Rick Remender book coming out called Seasons by him and Paul Azaceta, an artist that Kirkman worked with in the past. It says series premiere. Come one, come all to the amazing new Big Top show. Your ringleaders, Rick Remender and Paul Azaceta, invite you to this fantastical double-length premiere issue. A decade after the season's sister's beloved parents disappeared, a wicked carnival arrives in town. Within its Big Ten is a dazzling show led by an eldritch ringleader who offers comes all a window into their hearts, every desire, provided they each leave a piece of themselves behind. So I don't know. It sounds like a supernatural circus type of book or something. I don't know. Rick Remender's name's on it, so I'm gonna try out the first issue. So he's bought enough goodwill for me for over the years to be like, okay, I'll try out your new series. But that's really the only thing that jumped out to me that isn't an ongoing already at this point out of the new.
Stop buying books. They have to go back to either Marvel or DC and start writing some real comics again.
I mean, that's, a lot of these guys left these companies, and that's where that's the problem, right? I mean, listen, I'm all for them going off and doing their own stuff, but it's not everybody's Hickman who's now gone back and has started to work for them, right? For a paycheck. So I think it's
get your bag.
Yeah. So anyways, all right. So that's going to do it for comic solicitations for January 2025. Chris, what are you looking forward to checking out next week?
I think it's a big week next week. I was looking over it earlier. I think we got Amazing Spider-Man 60, is it? That's coming out next week.
Yeah.
So probably grabbing that, and I'm just going to try and load up whatever else is out there. Yeah, so Amazing Spider-Man 60, the Wolverine Revenge. I heard there's some controversy going on with that Wolverine Revenge. There's the artist there, or his colorer, as or who's writing that? Greg Capullo. He was calling out his colorist because he was taking so long.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's like,
maybe
he wants it to be known like, I'm not late, guys. This guy is. Yeah. All right. All right.
Let's see. There's the Zombiotes. I've been enjoying that. I'll probably read this Curse of Cain, the Chasm stuff. That's about it from Marvel. What's going on with DC? I'll read Action Comics. I think I'm done that last Halloween. It's a slow week. I'll pick it up. Might read the Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy. Not much else there, and not if there's anything from Image for me. Might have Spawn, and that's it. Yeah, so it's a slow week. I think there's some extras from last week that I didn't pick up in my box. So I think it's gonna be a cheap week for me, anyways. But hopefully,
It's actually a really small week of actual issues I'm picking up next week. I think there might be some things I read digitally, but in terms of things I'm actually picking up, Amazing Spider-Man 60, which is the last Zeb Wells issue, and it's also I got an awesome Adam Hughes
yeah,
variant for this
that's what I
one.
was gonna say. That's a good variant.
Absolutely. So, and then I got Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween #2, Kea 22, Namor #4, Wolverine Revenge, as you mentioned, Red Band #3. And that's it in terms of actual issues. Only 5 issues I'm picking up physically next week. And yeah, just I'll probably read some things digitally, maybe some of the things Chris mentioned or other stuff, but I just don't have that list in front of me. So stay tuned and check out next week. Otherwise, it'll be a smaller week than usual, but that's all right. It happens. So it's
Yep.
actually, I guess this is it the 5th week this month? That might be why, because usually if it's a 5-week month, there's the last week is usually a little
Yeah.
light. So it is. It is a 5-week month this month, so that's why. Because the fact it falls on Wednesday is the new release. It started out October 2nd, and now we're ending on October 30th. So yeah, that's
Looking
a
at some more Halloween comics for the 30th, but I guess not.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of horror anthology stuff. Maybe I'll look for some other stuff to comment on at that point. Because Creep Show came out this week and not next week, which doesn't make any sense. But anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, your favorite book of the week.
Well, just looking through my stack here that I had. It's gonna have to go to a comic I just read online, and I'm gonna have to power dog it. Just that line, power dog, that was enough to sell it. And that Granny Smith,
X
don't
Factor
go
3.
wrong. X
There you
Factor 3.
Chris, it pains me because that is my runner up this week. And I'm just glad that it's getting the love finally from you because I know the first issue, you're like, what the hell are you thinking, man? I was like, I love that issue. I think I gave it like a 5 out of 5 or whatever that week. I loved it so much. So I'm really loving that series. I think it was my favorite, possibly. If it was just the first, it might have just been the first issue, but I don't know what would have edged it out the last time it came out. It may have been my favorite twice. I don't know, but it's my runner up again this week, probably. And but I have to give it to Absolute Wonder Woman #1. I did quite enjoy this start of this comic. So yeah, that Power Dog joke alone almost got it over the top for me. I was talking about that today, but yeah, I'll give it to Absolute Wonder Woman for my favorite. And yeah, I'm glad you picked X Factor 3 because that's my runner up. So yeah, there you go, guys. So those are our favorite books of the week. And stay tuned to check us out next week. We'll have a whole do it all over again. That's what we do around here. We're talking about some
Yeah.
new comics. And yeah, so stay tuned. Chris, thank you as always. And we'll see you guys next time. Later.
All right. Cheers.